Good afternoon, students. Welcome to Analytics Powered Virtual Interactive Classes. So, how are you all? Okay, very good. Hope all of you are doing great. So, I hope all of you have had your lunch, right? Very good. So, today we are going to discuss a new topic or new chapter. Okay. So, let's see which chapter we are going to discuss today. So before that we will observe some incidents, okay, and try to guess like which chapter we are going to discuss today. So are you ready? Very good. So without any kind of delay, let's start our class. So in the screen, what we can see, right, it's a school bus, and inside the school bus there are so many students and their teacher present. So they are going somewhere, right? So with the school bus, by the school bus, they are going somewhere. Let's see where are they going. So they are going for their school trip. Like so many of you have also went school picnic, right? Like excursion or educational observations, educational outing, right? So similar to this, they are also going, they went to some place, okay? So the view of that place is also very beautiful, isn't it? And the students, they are making various kinds of things. So see, one girl, she is piling some clay and she is using water. Like as we know that clay is what? Clay is nothing but soil mixed with water, isn't it? So she is piling up some clay and she is giving them various kinds of shapes. Now, can you tell me that why did water follow the shape of the hands and bottle but not keep it? Like when she was collecting the water by her hands, the water took the shape of her hands. And when she was using the bottle, the water took the shape of that bottle, isn't it? But when she was pouring that water into the clay, the size or the shape of the water wasn't same, like it changed, right? So why is it happening? Like whenever she is she is using various kinds of things to collect water, the water is taking the shape of that container or the thing she is using to collect water. Like in our daily life also, when we see water, like collect water in various kinds of vessels or tumblers, we can observe that the water is taking the shape of that vessel, right? So why water shows this kind of property? Can anyone tell me? In today's class we are going to find why this kind of things happen, okay? See, in another incident is there, one boy, he is piling up some stones, right? So he arranged them beautifully, right? In both the cases, see, she was piling up clay, then the boy was stacking some stones together, and the clay or the water, the clay which is made with the water, and the water, it didn't take the shape is what it was present in, right? Like first the it took the shape of the bottle, and whenever she was using her hands, the water took the shape of the hands of that girl, isn't it? So in all the cases, there is one question which is coming into our mind, that why does soil and stones pile up but water never stays in one place? See, have you ever wondered, like stone or clay or soil or whatever we are observing, like your bench which you are sitting on, your books, copies, pen, all of them have their own shape. But the water you are drinking, it doesn't have any particular shape, right? So why is it happening? Why does soil and stones pile up? We can pile them up, but water, if we pour water somewhere, will it pile up? No, right? So why water can't be piled up? Have you ever wondered? In our class, today's class, we are going to discuss these things. Okay, before that, see, there is another view. So the place they went, there are some beautiful parachutes. As we know, parachutes, they are able to fly in the sky with the help of air, isn't it? And there is another question, that if air can't be seen, how does it add weight weight to the balloon? Like whenever we blow a balloon, the weight of that balloon increases, right? But usually what happens? We are not able to see air, we can't see air, right? So whenever we are inserting air into the balloon, the weight of the balloon is increasing. Why is it happening? Like we are generally not able to observe air, but still the weight of the balloon is increasing, isn't it? So why is it happening? Have you ever wondered? All these questions that coming in our mind right now, all of this we are going to discuss in our today's class. Okay, see, the boy is making some bubbles, isn't it? And he is blowing them with the help of air. And in the next case also, he is blowing the flower, right? Or after that, after blowing that flower, the seeds of that flower, they are flying away, isn't it? So in both the cases, like when he was blowing the bubbles or making the bubbles and blowing onto the flower, what happened? In both the cases, he used air. So here comes another question, that if we can't see air, how is it moving things so strongly? See, in our environment also, when the environment is so windy or the wind is blowing, what we can see, that the big trees or the branches or the leaves of the trees are moving, right? So from this, there is this question coming, that if we can't see air, we generally are not able to see air, right? So how is it able, how the air is able to move the things in our surroundings very strongly? See, these questions, all of these are going to be discussed in our class. Okay, before that, another question is coming. What is it? That is the air we breathe today the same that existed thousands of years ago? See, thousands of years ago also, there are air in the environment, right? In the environment at that time also air was present. So from this, can you tell me that the air we are breathing in our daily life, like in present time, is it same to the what, to the air which was present in thousands of years ago? Think about it. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about all of these questions. Okay, before going to that part, let's see one story. See, the boy who was stacking the stones up and piling them up and making one stone tower. See, he is arranging the stones according to their size, right? And he is piling them up. Now the boy is asking his teacher that, Madam, where did this pebble come from? Okay, so he is asking small stones or the pebbles, the pieces of the stone coming from. See, there is this beautiful river, and the weather is how? Which kind of weather is there? Right, rainy weather, isn't it? And see, there are heavy rain which is happening. So much rain, isn't it? So, whenever there are too much rain, usually what happens? Everything around us gets covered up by water, isn't it? So which we generally call as or term as flood. So, whenever there are too much rain, what happens in the hilly areas? As the hills are made up of what? Right, stones. So the stones, they get soaked with the rain, and from these small cracks on the stones can be observed. Okay, and the small cracks make the small pieces of the stone. Okay, from that the stones or the small pebbles, they get detached from the big stone, and they generally gets under the water, or they spread around the surroundings. Like see, in our surroundings also, like here one word which is known as landslide. Like have you ever like listened this word? Right. So what happens in hilly areas whenever there are too much rain happens, this kind of landslides occur. Okay, why? Because the mountains or the stones gets soaked in the rain, and from that small cracks appear on the stone, and those cracks make the small pieces of that stone. Okay, and those small stones, they gets detached from the big stone and they fall. Okay, and this incident which we are talking about right now is known as landsliding. Okay, so this is how small pebbles or small stones are made. Now tell me, can this be broken further? Can we break them, these small stones or the small pieces of stones? Can we break them further or make them or more small pieces? Yes, we can make them, isn't it? So today we are going to discuss about which chapter? What is written? Very good. Particulate nature of matter. Okay, so in our today's class, we are going to discuss particulate nature of matter. So various kinds of materials or matters are present in our surroundings. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about their characteristics, how they behave and why they behave like this. So let's start. See, there is this one cookie, isn't it? So the boy is eating that cookie. You students also eat, sometimes you eat cookies, right? So have you ever observed that whenever we are eating cookies, some small particles, they gets detached from that biscuit, right? And see, his mother, she is grinding some nuts and making the smooth particles from it, isn't it? So in case of the biscuit, and in second case when his mother was grinding some nuts, in both the cases, from both the cases we can see that these objects, they are made up of small particles, isn't it? So, here comes another question, that what is matter composed of? Okay. So, there is this one activity. Let's see what is he doing. He took some chalks and started to grind them. Okay. See, he made, he grind the chalks. Okay. And after grinding them, see, there are these fine particles, isn't it? So, these small fine particles, these are also what? These are also chalks, right? So, even after breaking and grinding, each tiny piece of chalk still is a chalk, isn't it? See, whenever your teachers are writing something in the board with the help of the chalk, some tiny particles of that chalks gets detached, right? They get piled up beneath the board, isn't it? And from that, like using those small particles, we also can write, isn't it? So, the small particles or the small pieces of the chalk, they still behave like a chalk, isn't it? So, this is what written, that even after breaking and grinding, each tiny piece is still a chalk, isn't it? Showing that matter is made up of very small particles. So, from this we can like assume that matter is made up of very small particles, isn't it? So, so many small particles, they get attached to each other and make one big material or big object. Okay. See, there is another activity. The boy is tearing a paper, okay, and making them into small pieces. Small paper pieces are there. So, whenever we are tearing papers and making them into small pieces, this kind of change is known as physical change. As why? Because there is no change. The paper we are tearing or making the small pieces is still a paper, isn't it? Or will it become another thing? If we tear one paper and make them into small pieces, will the paper change into something else? No, right? So that means that it's a physical change. And see, there is this fire. So this kind of changes, like whatever the fire is doing with the wood, is making the wood into ash, right? So one thing is getting converted into another thing. The wood is getting converted into ash, right? So in this kind of thing, where one particular object is getting transformed into another thing, is called as chemical change. Okay, so tearing of paper is what? Right, physical change. And burning, it is what kind of change? Very good, chemical change. So, see, this kind of change, like whenever we are grinding the chalk and making them into small or fine particles, what is it? Is it a physical change or chemical change? So, like whenever we are grinding the chalk, is it transforming into another object or is it the same as the chalk? Right. Nothing new is forming. Right. So, this kind of thing, this kind of change is also known as physical change, as no new objects are forming in this case. Isn't it? So, like here, the question I was asking again, that is grinding chalk a physical or a chemical change? Now tell me the answer. What will be the answer? Very good, physical change. So, here comes our first question. So, see, let's see what's the question. Matter is made up of tiny particles. What are those called? There are four options. Option A, cells, option B molecules, option C constituent particles or tissues. I am giving you the timer. Try to answer everyone, okay? So, the tiny particles by which a matter is made up of is known as what? Is it called cells or option B molecules or option C constituent particles or option D tissues? What do you call them? The particles which make a matter. What do we call them? Is it cells or molecules or constituent particles or tissues? Okay, so many of you have answered. Very good. Very good. And with that, your time is up. Let's see how many of you have given the right answer. Very good. So many of you have given the right answer. Okay, so our right answer will be what? Constituent particles. So the particles which make up a matter is known as what? Constituent particles, because they are constituting that matter, isn't it? The particles, they are constituting that matter. So that's why they are known as constituent particles. So our right answer will be option C, constituent particles. Clear everyone? Now next question comes, let's see. Breaking a piece of chalk into smaller pieces is a what? What kind of change is breaking into a piece? Breaking a piece of chalk into smaller pieces is what kind of change? Four options are there. Option A, chemical change. Option C, permanent change, or option D, biological change. I am giving you the timer again. Try to answer everyone. What kind of change is it? Breaking a piece of chalk into smaller pieces is what kind of change? Chemical change. Option A, chemical change. Option B, physical change. Option C, permanent change, or option D, biological change. What kind of change will be it? Like we have read it earlier also, right? We have discussed this just now. That what kind of change will be breaking a chalk into smaller pieces? Is it chemical or physical or permanent or biological? What kind of change? Wow, so many of you have given the right answer. And with that, your time is up. Let's see. Very good. So many of you have given the right answer. So, as we know that breaking the chalk into smaller particles, those small particles also behave like chalk, right? So, in this case, no new matter or no new particle or no new thing is forming in this case, right? The earlier thing was chalk and the new particles, they are also behaving like chalks, isn't it? So, whenever no new thing is forming, this kind of change is known as physical change, isn't it? So, if we break one piece of chalk into small particles, they are also behaving like chalk, isn't it? So, this kind of change will be called physical change, as no new object is forming, isn't it? So now see, this boy is solving a puzzle. As we know, puzzle, see there are various tiny small pieces of puzzles are there which we have to arrange them accordingly to solve that puzzle, isn't it? This every small piece is one constituent particle of that puzzle. See, the mother of that boy, she is making laddus, right? So, the laddu, in case of preparing laddus, small particles of laddus are there which we have to roll them up and make them one ball like structure to prepare that laddu, isn't it? So, from the first case where we observed that there are small pieces of puzzles and the small particles of chalk and the small particles of what? Small pieces or particles of laddus. All these are known as smaller unit, also known as constituent particle, as we know that the constituent object which are making that object, constituting that object, those small particles are known as constituent particles, as they are constituting that objects, isn't it? So the object or the particles which constitute one object is known as constituent particle of that object. Clear everyone? See, in the first case, the small pieces of puzzles, they are considered as the constituent particle of that puzzle. And in the second case, the particles of laddus, they are constituent particles also for laddus. And the small particles of chalk, they are known as what? Constituent particles of chalk. So, the larger pieces of substances are made up of many smaller units called constituent particles. Okay. So, the constituent particles, their characteristics will also be similar with the big object which they are constituting. Okay. So, larger pieces of substances are made up of many smaller units called what? Right, constituent particles. Clear everyone? Okay, after that, see, now we will be observing one small story. Okay, so there is this old grandmother. So she is telling that I am thirsty, child. So now he is telling her grandmother that grandma, wait, I will make something refreshing for you. So he is willing to make something refreshing for her grandma or grandmother as she is thirsty. Let's see what is he making. So he took some water into a glass. Okay. See, he took some water, poured some water into the glass, and after that he took one container. Before that he added some lemon. He squeezed one lemon and added lime juice or lemon juice into the water. So basically he is making lemon water, isn't it? After that he is adding some sugar into the water. See, 1 spoon of sugar he added into the water. Clear up to this portion? After that he started tasting the mixture. Okay, but there is one problem. What is it? So it's just plain water. So when he tasted the water, it felt like it's just normal water. Why? See, the grandma is telling him that stir the water carefully. See, whenever we are making drinks, so what we have to do, whenever we are adding sugar and salt into the water, we have to stir them. Right, but in this case, we observed that he just added the sugar, but he didn't stir them. So his grandma is telling him to stir the water carefully. Now let's see what happens. See, he is stirring the water now. And now when he tastes the lemon juice, now it will be okay. Okay, so see, now he is telling that now it is perfect. And the grandma tells him that yes, I know, because he stirred the water, right? Now the water is getting dissolved. Okay, so the water, in the water the sugar got dissolved now, and the mixture will now feel sweet or taste sweet. And this thing, his grandma knows it, right? We also know this, isn't it? Now question comes that where did the sugar go? Like, we know that whenever we stir the sugar into the water, the sugar gets dissolved in it. But how? Why? How it gets dissolved, or what happens in this case? How they disappear? Let's see. See, whenever we are mixing sugar with water, what happens? See, this is a sugar molecule or a tiny particle or tiny piece of sugar. You can assume it. And these things, these blue and orange, these are none other than water molecules. So, whenever we add sugar into water and start to stir them, the small molecules of sugar gets detached from each other and start to bind with water molecules. See, in this case, what happens? When sugar dissolves in water, it breaks into tiny particles. Okay, the one thing which we know as constituent particles. Constituent particles. So the sugar is also constituted with these constituent particles. So whenever we add sugar into water, it gets dissolved. And what happens in this case? So in this case, the molecules of sugar or the small tiny constituent particles of the sugar, they gets dissolved or they gets mixed up with the molecules of water. Okay, so when sugar dissolves in water, it breaks into tiny particles. Okay, so all these things, these are what? These are sugar molecules. So see the space, this kind of thing, interparticle spaces. So what is it? The gap between the two molecules of one thing or the gap between two constituent particles is known as interparticle space. Okay, interparticle. Inter means between two. Okay, two different things. So interparticle space means the space between two particles. See this is one water molecule and this is another water molecule. So the space between this thing is known as interparticle space. The space between two particles is known as interparticle space. Okay. So what happens here? That everyone write it down. Okay. The tiny sugar particles spread out and fill the empty spaces between water molecules. These empty gaps are called interparticle spaces. So what is interparticle space? The tiny sugar particles spread out. Okay, the particles spread out and fill the empty spaces. So there are some gap between the molecules of water, which we earlier called as what? Interparticle spaces. So that space, within that space, the molecules of the sugar, they gets entered. Okay, and these empty gaps, these are known as interparticle spaces. Okay, see, these are what? These are interparticle spaces. Clear, everyone? So here comes our next question. Let's see. Sugar dissolves in water. Why sugar dissolves in water? Option A, sugar melts. Option B, sugar particles occupy the spaces between water particles. Or option C, sugar changes into air. Or option D, water changes into sugar. What will be the right answer? I have given you the timer. Let's see. Why? Why sugar dissolves in water? Is it because option A, sugar melts, option B, sugar particles occupy the spaces between water particles, or C, sugar changes into air, or D, water changes into sugar? Which one will be the right answer? And with that your time is up. Let's see. Wow, very good. So many of you have given the right answer. So our right answer is what? Option B, sugar particles occupy the spaces between water particles, which we called as what? Interparticle spaces, isn't it? So next is, see, this is this one small chalk, and whenever we break the chalks, the small particles, they also behave like what? As chalks. And see the sugar cubes or the sugar molecules, the sugar thing, this is also made up of what? This is also made up of small tiny particles. So from this we can say that chalk and sugar are made of tiny particles that can be broken into smaller pieces. Okay, so all these things, they are made up of small tiny particles which we call as constituent particles. So here are two examples as chalk and sugar. So in both the cases, these objects are made up of small particles which we call as constituent particles. Clear everyone? See, whenever these tiny particles, they get attached to each other and they make the bigger or larger matter. See these sugar particles also, whenever they are getting attached to each other, they get converted into a sugar cube. So how do tiny particles stay together to make a solid? Have you ever wondered that how these tiny particles, they get attached to each other and they make one solid particle? Before that, let's see what our question is. Next question is, the space between the particles of matter is called as what? Option A, is it interparticle space? Option B, vacuum. Option C, gap zone. Or option D, empty region. So I am giving you the timer. Let's see how many of you can answer it correctly. What was it? The space between the particles of matter, as we observed in case of sugar and water. So the space between the particles of matter is called as what? Is it interparticle space or vacuum or gap zone or empty region? Which is correct? And with that your time is up. Wow, very good. So many of you have given the right answer. Very good. So the space between the particles of matter is known as what? Interparticle space, isn't it? The space between two particles or molecules is known as interparticle space. Clear everyone? And with that, our class is up to this. We have discussed. I hope all of you have understood what we have gone through in today's class, and try to read this chapter from your book also. Okay, so the things we have discussed, I hope all of you understood. So in our next class we are going to discuss the next new topics. We are coming with those topics. Okay, so before that, whatever we have studied today, try to read them. Okay, and if you have any kind of doubt, please let me know in our next session. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye bye.